Hi, Rudy Tooty. This is Greg Sandy AS 2006 coming to you. The AS is for Asperger Syndrome, and the 2006 is the year that I found out about Asperger Syndrome and autism, and also the year that I concluded that I must have this um, neurological disorder. And I just found out recently when my father came here to see me graduate from University of Redlands back in May. I haven't seen him in 13 years. I concluded, yeah, he has it too. Um, Trying to see my notes here. I've had many jobs as well. Um, I can say most of my life, my adult life, I have had jobs where I'm either under the poverty level or right at. I really don't know what the poverty level was back in 1994 or 1995 or 1996. But around 1995 to 97, around in that time was the highlight of my life. Now I graduated, I mean earnings wise. I graduated high school in 93, and I believe that the Asperger syndrome came out in the DSM-4, the original one, in 1994, and it was a year after I left high school. And I wish I would have known about AS and autism back when I was a senior in high school. When I started my senior year in 1992. I wish I would have known about it because my experiences were very real, and it is a slap in the face when someone tells you you do not have that. I do not think you have that. You do not look like someone that has it, because that's stating to me that my experiences are fake and false, and it's like saying I know nothing about what I'm experiencing. And how can someone say, "Oh, it doesn't look you don't have AS. You don't look like someone that has AS. You don't have AS." Because they're not inside my head. Why don't you live inside my head for a week or two and see how it feels when you don't get someone saying something and you have to ask someone what do they mean because you can't read between the lines, or you don't get nonverbal cues. They're trying to tell you something nonverbally, and you're thinking, what? Just say it. And they're thinking, I shouldn't have to say it. Yes, you do. For someone that's with AS, yes, you do have to say it. You have to say it verbally. We're not going to get it. I have not been officially diagnosed. I can tell you're further down the road than I am, and the path you led is the path I want to take. Because yes, I do want to do more research on AS. I'm in my MBA right now, and I was hoping I can get a hold of someone. And I was written off. That's in my other post. You can read about that. I was crying. I was very upset. It was earlier today. Um, so if I go to a psychology degree, I can't go to the school I'm in now. I have to go to some other college, but I have a passion for AS, and I have a passion for HR law and Title VII, and I wanna be able to not only educate employers about AS, but encourage them to hire adults with AS, because there's certain skills that they have that other people do not have. Um, and the two jobs that I had that were the best pay wise, or overall, I'd say within a year, is the one job that I had where my dad used to work was a factory, and that was back in not oh 05. I was hired in 1995, and then got laid off in June of 97. Because every year, or yeah, I guess it was fall of 95, but in June of 1997, I was laid off because every year they have a not a strike, a layoff for the aluminum line, because Ford at the time, not now, but at the time, they closed down every summer to beef up their September sales and to beef up the production and everything in September. So they'd always close down a little bit in the summer, and that's what happened to me. I was laid off, and that was a good job for me. It was a very good job, steady income. I was living on my own. I was able to take care of myself. My mom and dad moved out of the trailer park that they were in. I stayed in it. They moved in this house. They bought this house. I stayed there. I think the land rent, because it was a big lot, was like $237 or 250. No, maybe 275 a month. The land was probably 275 a month. And that was quote unquote the mortgage. So I was able to pay that, and I was able to pay the phone bill. Didn't have a cell phone, just had a phone. 1995, 1994 didn't have. I don't think most people had cell phones back then. And I was able to pay the cable and everything else, you know. And I had a little money left over, but not much, and it doesn't really matter because I was working 66 hours a week at the time. I really didn't have time to play around. And at that time, let's see, in '96, I was 21. So I really didn't have time to play around and drink and party and stuff like that. I was cooped working that shift of like, I think I worked 4 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. or something like that, and I get home at 3:30 a.m. and I'd sleep till noon, and I'd have to leave at 2:45 to get there by 4. But you know, those were the highlights of my working life, and I don't know if I could ever get back there. I'd like to. Now, the other job that I had that I kept for a long time is the job that I had at what do you call it? My mind escapes me right now. A residential treatment center, and that's where I learned about autism and Asperger syndrome. And in this residential treatment center, it's a school, but it's also a dorm. So it's a school for outside kids to come around and go to school there and then go home. They leave. They're there from like 8 to 2. But then there's the dorm, and those dorm kids live there on the dorm, but they go to school there as well. And so it's not just a residential treatment center, it is a school as well. And I worked there for 2 years and 5 months. And my friend that works there introduced me to AS. And once he said I have it, I researched it and I looked and I said, yeah, I do. And I don't even know what the poverty level is. I'm not working. I haven't worked in 2 years. And ever, even before 94, not 94, but before when I got hired at that one other place, the good job, I got hired in 95. It was difficult for me to keep jobs, but I must say some of it was because of the temp agencies. You're bouncing on shit, just the temp agencies. It's like, oh, it lasts a week, okay. Oh, it lasts a month, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, it only lasted a week. We thought it would last a month. Bye. Um, I've been told by a few people, you've been further down your path. You seems like you have been told that you don't have it more. You've been told you don't have AS. You don't look like it. I have been told from a few people, not a lot. I was going to this therapist. He was not a therapist yet. This was back in early '08. I told him that I think I have it, and he said why, and I told him the symptoms that I display, and I read about it and whatnot. He said I don't see that in you. This is like day 3 that he saw me, week 3 or whatever. He said I don't see that in you. And I said, well, if you looked at me, you would know. You can't just see from me sitting here and talking for an hour because I'm making eye contact with you because I learned. And one-on-one is different than in a group. Um, and if I tend to feel comfortable with people, I'll look in their eye. If I don't feel comfortable with them, I won't look them in the eye. I'll look at their arm or I'll look at the floor or something like that. And that happened with his boss. I was upset and I wasn't looking at her and her eyes were kind of beady and closed. And I wasn't looking at her. I was looking over here. And she said, yeah, I can tell you're slow and you're processing things slow. And I can tell you're not looking in my eye. You're looking around and everything. I said, good. I'm glad you noticed that. She picked up on it. But the intern, the therapist slash intern, didn't believe I had it. My friend doesn't believe I have it because of the sole fact that she's seen me do certain things where I guess she has this notion that people with AS can't do certain things, and I think she's forgetting the social interaction thing. And I don't know, but I have a feeling she's basing it on our social interaction, which our social action is very good because I've studied her. I know her well. The only thing is that she can still pull the wool over my eyes, and she can still be pulling my leg, and I'm so gullible. Tell me anything, I'll believe you. Now, the good thing is I have talked to people where a therapist, that actual therapist, they say, yes, what you're describing to me does indeed sound like AS. I just not have gotten that diagnosis. So hopefully there'll be something around there for adults that were born after like 1977 for us to be able to get somewhere, because without that diagnosis, we're at a loss. We are at a loss. Keep up the videos.